Hello everyone, I'm Lupo. I'm here with Rodrigo. Today we are talking with Six, who is the head ambassador for the eastern region of Polkadot, and we are going to discuss hackathon and all the know-hows around it, how we can organize an amazing event in the VUCA University in the future regarding a hackathon. So Six, thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing really great here in Bali, kickstarting the Polkadot Hub. How are you?
Good, we're good. Rodrigo?
Yeah, very good, man. Thank you. Very excited to start this conversation with you, Six.
Yeah, same. Very excited.
All right. I'm very curious, Six. Can you tell us more about why the Polkadot infrastructure is great for hackathons and maybe an introduction for people that is not very familiar with the ecosystem?
We have two types of hackathons in the Polkadot ecosystems. Most of the times they are online hackathons. This happen quite often right now. We have one ongoing hackathon. The good thing in those is that we always documentation and education materials. So even if you're a beginner, you get some ideas on how to get started. So if you look at the global hackathon series that is just running right now, and you look at the website, you will see learning material which can get you started. And you can also join communities. Most of the time use Discord for that. And you can find your team and find help to get started with coding or content creation or how to create a Polkadot project, because these hackathons are not just for coders, but for all the creators and builders in the ecosystem and in Web3.
Okay, nice. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And so what are the things that have excited you the most in the previous hackathons? Maybe you can tell us a couple of solutions that we have found especially insightful from previous hackathons.
Yeah, personally, I'm most of the time participating on-site hackathons, either as organizer or a judge. And what really excites me is to see all the people creating a new innovative projects, and especially meeting those bright minds who get to the hackathons. As I mentioned, we have the online and on-site types of hackathons. Most of the times the on-site hackathons is where the coolest, the latest thing is happening. And of course, these are the personal experiences, and these are the experiences where you can connect more to those people, not just for coding, but also to know each other. So Web3 is way more than coding and sitting behind a laptop. It is also about connecting together and building together to create a new kind of future that we haven't seen before.
Hey, Six, that's awesome. You were saying also that you provide an information and education for the people who are new to the hackathons. So can you walk us through what exactly someone should learn and where can they find resources if they want to learn about hackathons and start actually participating in them?
Sure, it's a really broad question, because the first question I would ask from someone, what is it that you really like? What is it you really want to do? Most of the times in hackathons, of course, we see developers. So let's say maybe out of 10 people, 8 are developers. So let's pick this topic for now. If you want to learn development in Web3, you either already did some development in the past and Web2. Here you have an advantage because you already know a little bit maybe how to code, but you also have a disadvantage because you have the Web2 thinking. If you just get started from scratch, like my friend who is here in the Polkadot Hub, we are building it together. He started last summer and he started to code in Solidity. Solidity is a great language, and you can use Moonbeam and the Polkadot ecosystem to utilize your code, which you develop in the end. So for Solidity, you do not need to be in the Ethereum ecosystem. You can already do it in the Polkadot ecosystem. That's an easy to learn language, and this helps you to understand the Web3 kind of thinking, where you have many nodes, decentralization, consensus algorithm, and all the things that makes Web3 different from Web2. So I think Solidity is a good start if you want to get started with coding. If you are already advanced or a little bit advanced, then you can go with Ink or even with Substrate, where you need to code in Rust, which is a really awesome language, but you need more experience to code in Rust.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So in the context of hackathons, so basically events organized to solve a technical challenge or just a challenge more in general, that could have different topics, of course. What do you think are the advantages and disadvantages of doing a hackathon with Polkadot? Because I can imagine, right, there's some good stuff and maybe other, of course, it's going to be more harder for you to talk about the things that are not maybe disadvantages. But yeah, I would really like to hear more from you. What do you think are the advantages and disadvantages? Because one thing that comes to my mind very quickly is that, okay, if an ecosystem is promoting a hackathon, does that mean that the people in the hackathon cannot use a different ecosystem to build the solution if they think that that other ecosystem is better for the particular solution that they're trying to create? So in a way, they might feel constrained by the promoters of the event, so to speak. Can you talk a little bit about that as well?
Of course, that's a really good question. Because the prizes, we have the best prizes. I was just joking. Of course, it's not about the prizes. And first of all, I want to emphasize on that part that when you go to a hackathon, if you really want to learn, if you really want to be in the ecosystem, then prize shouldn't be the main thing. What you should be looking for is the setup, the type of the hackathon you are joining, the themes, the types of challenges you have, and what you can learn from there, how supportive is the organizer team, if the mentors are good, and so on. And I think in this Polkadot is really good because we have the Polkadot ambassador program, which also brings together a very strong community around Polkadot. And from this, I see coming out really good hackathon mentors as well. So in each hackathon, we have the mentors who are helping you with your technical questions or figuring out your projects. I think that's an advantage if you choose to do Polkadot hackathons or Polkadot ecosystem hackathons, because it's not just Polkadot itself who are doing the hackathons, but we have to think about the ecosystem teams like VMark, Star, Unit Network, and the many other ecosystems we have. They also run hackathons, which I recommend to look into. We have, for example, Moonbeam. If you participate in a Moonbeam, you will very likely to code in Solidity. And if you code in Solidity and implement something in that language, you can use it in any other EVM-based chain. So basically all the Ethereum forks and all the EVM chains will probably support, if not the whole, but part of your project. So that's also a good way to start. And another advantage in the Polkadot ecosystem is that we run the blockchain and connect together with interoperability. So when you develop something, it's not just for one chain, but also with the others. Hopefully the project's no forks happen maybe this year or maybe by summer. We will see how fast the development and adoption is. And if you develop in the Polkadot ecosystem, you might be already connected to Ethereum as well through Snowfork. So these are the advantages. The disadvantages, if you want to go for something like a Substrate or Ink, you need to learn Rust, and you need to know Rust well, and it's not easy. Rust is not an easy programming language, and the learning curve is way longer and harder than, let's say, Solidity itself. I think a dApp is also a bit more challenging if you want to create a full dApp, because in Polkadot, if you start implementing your project, you will see that it's super easy to do the lower level things, your contracts, your Substrate nodes, and so on. But we still have some hard times when we are coming to the front end. I think it will change maybe in the next half year, because I see really good initiatives when it comes to the front end. So these are the challenging parts of it. But I'm pretty sure this can be also a very fun and cool experience to hack something that nobody hacked before.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. So we're also thinking about the specific challenges that we want to tackle in this hackathon. And we were thinking about one challenge around social, like a social problem, one around sustainability, and one around that very specific to the university. However, in your experience, have you seen these kind of challenges broadly speaking, being tackled in some of your hackathons? Because we're really trying to get more like an interdisciplinary team. We not only want developers, which are essential and of course necessary for the technical foundation, but we also want to have some more other disciplines, because at the end of the day, we're at the university, right? So we have access to all sorts of disciplines. What do you think about that?
I think you have a really good chance to do an awesome hackathon in universities, because there are only a few things where you can do blockchain really well in the world, and one of them is industry. So where blockchain is really needed and really useful, it's universities and possibly government-related systems where you want to be transparent, or hopefully you want to be transparent. What I see is that universities are already adopting blockchain for multiple reasons. And if you go around the topic, let's say you want to protect the work of the students, or you want to create some NFTs for, let's say, diplomas, then you can say, oh, this person, he went through the whole education, he has a diploma, he get the diploma as an NFT, and this is on chain, and he can prove it's I have done, that's the real thing. So people won't be able to fake diplomas. I just met a friend here in the Polkadot hub, and we were talking. He told me that he had an employee. The employee worked for him for 6 months and couldn't verify the diploma because he claimed that it was from Singapore, and there was no way to do it in a straightforward way. But if it would have been on blockchain, you could just use the NFT and shows, okay, that's mine, and that this was indeed coming from the smart contract or by the signature of the universe, then you can verify it. It is just one idea, but there are many more ideas how you can utilize it in universities. So I recommend you to have a look what could be the use case for you. What kind of topics would you have? I think NFTs for universities, especially for artists, it's a super good topic. You can think about copyright. You can think about doing something against plagium, and you can think about events. You can think about reputation systems, contributions, many things. And I think if you come together with other students from the university, you will have a very good time. We'll have creative and cool projects. Maybe you start with more simple projects, but that's already good, because you get started with Web3. I recommend you also to start to do some workshops before, because if you haven't done Web3 and blockchain in the university, then people will be first like, oh, okay, how do I do this? What is this? And it will be hard. So I recommend you to have a couple of weeks like pre-educational sessions, workshops. I imagine that some speakers from Parity, for example, they might be open to do that and help you with the remote talk. And generally, you can ask the Polkadot ecosystem, if it's a Polkadot hackathon, to send you mentors and speakers. I can give you some contacts if you need this. So you just need to have a really good concept. You need to figure out the tracks, and you are good to go.
Thank you for the suggestions. Yeah, those were really valuable. Six, I have a question regarding you. I know that you organized a pretty large hackathon in December in Budapest. So we are just wondering what exactly goes into organizing a successful in the terms of the coders are learning and they have interesting challenges, and also successful in terms of having a nice venue and being overall a beneficial event for everyone who is attending. So can you walk us through what goes into organizing a hackathon like that?
Yeah, there are a lot of things you need to be careful about during the process. But if I want to summarize some key points that were very important for us, is to have reliable people organizing it, and people that are good in what they are doing. They do not need to be the top best professionals. But when you work with people, you need to make sure that you can trust those people and things will be done. And even if the person is not 100% knowing how to do something, he will figure out that kind of creativity and way of hacking will help you through a lot of hard situations, because hackathon is the hardest thing to organize. I think it doesn't even compare to a conference or meetups or anything, because in hackathons you have judges, mentors, you need to have the education system, you need to bring the players there, you need to motivate the players so they appear at the hackathon, which is also really hard. So you can collect many sign-ups, but the question is who is coming to your hackathon? That's a very hard thing to convince people. So you need to have a really good program, and you need to be very attractive to your target audience. You need to have good tracks so people who come to your hackathon will have good ideas on how to get started. You need good presentations and workshops as well. So that's just the basic list. That's just a short summary what you need, and we haven't even told about prizes and the location and food. So it's a very complex thing to put together. But what we did last year with the Polkadot Metaverse Championship Hackathon, that's totally transparent and public, and you can find the documents in the child bounty program, because we went through the child bounty, which was funded by the Treasury. So you can find the details there. First, I would start with a very stable and good concept, figuring out what and how to do and who is doing that. So I would be sure to have some people from the tech side to take care of the challenges, some people for PR marketing. Be careful with PR and marketing. I recommend, I know you are good in this, so you better do it for yourself, because in Web3 and crypto marketing is far, let's say. We don't have too good experiences with marketing companies, let's say. And also PR is very important to make the right news and that the information is going the right direction, and a very good event management setup and event managers. So I recommend to consult some people who help you to put together the agenda in a way that it will fit the hackathons in the Polkadot ecosystem. That kind of summarizes it in a short. One more addition which you need to keep in mind: it is very important in the hackathons that people come, they create cool projects, and the cool projects will be implemented and used later, because there are so many hackathons and so many projects, so much development that happened in the past that just died literally the day after the hackathon. Nobody cares anymore. Nobody does anything with it. It's just there, dead on a Git somewhere. So you need to have a good plan for the follow-ups and how to keep people engaged, because this only makes sense if you have a follow-up and if these projects actually become used in the ecosystem or somewhere in life. Some examples which we had in the championship hackathon we organized last year: some people created a project for Kilt, and Kilt started to think about hiring those people, providing jobs for those people. That can be an option, or helping projects that look good, that are good ideas, to get a grant from Web3 Foundation. Or there are projects for the CCTF, the cryptocurrency hacking competition track, and the solutions that came in will be implemented in the next. So you always need to think about that your hackathon only makes sense if it's not just temporary, but it has long-term impact.
For sure. No, thank you so much. And this is my last question. In terms of a hackathon, it is possible from Polkadot to have more than one ecosystem promoting the event. So imagine to have Polygon and Polkadot promoting an event. Is that something that is allowed by the rules of your hackathon system, or this is not possible?
There is no fixed rule on how you organize the hackathon or who you involve with the hackathons. But if you organize Polkadot hackathon, that this needs to be a Polkadot hackathon for sure, because Polkadot only helps you to fund the Polkadot related events. If you want to organize something together with other chains, this can be a good idea, especially if your topic is interoperability. Let's say you have Polkadot, you have Binance, and you have Ethereum. The three comes together, and okay, let's do together really huge hackathon and figure out how we can bring our projects together. That might be an idea. That's a very hard idea to implement it, to organize this. So it's a very good question. I can't give sure answer to this. You can create a proposal, show it to some guys who are working with the proposals and helping to get through them, hear their ideas on that. I don't think that it's something impossible. I think it just increases the complexity and it will make it harder to organize the event. It's more straightforward to do just the Polkadot event, and there is more know-how and knowledge on how to do that.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome,
Thank you.
awesome. And Six, you were saying that one of the key things is to make sure that the projects don't really die out after the hackathon. So how would you go about ensuring that, in the sense of that, okay, the projects that we are working on in that couple of days that the hackathon lasts are actually valuable for the ecosystem. There's a need for it, or maybe not for the ecosystem, but for the university. And after they are done, and if they are successful, if they are usable, they have utility in the real world, applications in the real world, then they go on and evolve. And from that hackathon, the basics, they manifest into an actual project that is valuable. How do you make sure that happens?
Okay, I tell you a story I had in the past at an unnamed hackathon where I was judging projects, and I only faced the projects when they were presenting it. And what I experienced that from 10 projects, if they tell me the idea before they just started what they want to build, I tell 7 of them, don't even start that, because that makes no sense. So start by making sure that the projects that get implemented by the hackathon players make sense. How can you do that? That's what the mentors can help with. So make sure that you have a mentoring system at your hackathon where the teams, the players, can present their ideas and get help on what they are implementing. And don't be afraid of the mentor engagement. So the mentors can give guidance and help to the teams. So choose really good mentors and let them consult and a little bit work together with the teams. Mentors shouldn't be doing the work, but they should be giving a very good and straightforward guidance. So from that point where people are implementing something, or at least trying to implement something that makes sense, then it cannot be that bad in the end. It might make sense. At least the idea will be useful maybe on the long run. So after they go through the hackathon and they present their ideas, you can upload the team presentations online and go with a little bit more promotion. You can choose some projects or as the ecosystem, hey, this project was super cool for, let's say, A-star. So why didn't you use the media they have and show people, okay, this was a cool project. Let's do something with it and move on. So you need to activate those communication channels. And sometimes it's like there is a cool idea, it's implemented, and somehow it doesn't get to the right people. So you should be pushing this a little bit and helping people to get to the right place. I think that's the best you can do regarding the follow-ups. And basically, in the end, it's up to the ecosystem teams or Polkadot itself what they want to do with the talent. If someone is a good substrate developer and has no job, that would be very surprising, though, because that's a type of knowledge that is very needed now. Then you can just be at the hackathon and say, you don't have a work, you're looking for one. I'm happy to introduce you to someone at Parity or some projects that are looking for developers. So I think these ideas can help you to make sure that the projects just don't die out right after the hackathon and have the chance to happen in the future.
For sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And in terms of logistics at the event, like how would you structure it? Let's say we were thinking of 3 days or 2 days, something like that,
Yeah,
right?
3 days. Yeah, from Friday to Sunday, Friday afternoon to Sunday night.
So we were thinking of that. How would you structure that to have a successful and comprehensive weekend, basically, for the devs, for the mentors, for the judges? The judging system should be fair, and also the developers should feel that, okay, they are progressing and they have clear guidance from the mentors, and there's clear instruction regarding what projects they should be thinking about. How would you structure, for example, the first couple hours of the hackathon to have a good, solid start?
Well, most of the hackathons start with some education and some speeches, workshops where people can get into the mood and get the hackathon vibes. Some hackathons work in a way where you have an online start and then you get to the physical location. What we did, it was pretty unique before us, and it was inspired by a hacking competition I organized CTF. Because in CCTF, what we do is that we don't want anyone else coming to our main event. We only want the best hackers come to our main event. So we introduced a very similar pre-qualification system to the championship we organized. So we had many faces from the region. So we had very good players coming together. So this makes sure that also the projects are better and higher quality. So the pre-qualification system can help you to, first of all, filter out those who really want to be there, those who are not just going for the free food and free pizza and free, but talented and enthusiastic people. And also it helps people to learn, because if there is a pre-qualification challenge, they need to solve challenges, then throughout the challenges they learn. So this can be a very good idea that, let's say you have 2 weeks or even more, even one month. Maybe the longer, the better it is. Depends how much time you can spend on preparing this. But if you have this 3 weeks or 3 months, then you can help people to get ready. And at the event and how you do the agenda and how you do logistics and everything around it, I think this, I'm not saying it's unique everywhere, but the location where you're organizing it and the services you find and the locations have a really strong impact on this. Like what we did in Budapest was receiving really positive feedback, not just because we are very good organizers and oh my God, no, because we chose a very good locations and we choose really good services. Budapest is full of awesome services. I'm pretty sure Amsterdam as well. So you need to think about what services are available. It can be party buses, tours, lights, live music, I don't know, game entertainment, whatever which you want to add as spice to the hackathon, because you want to make sure that the vibes and the experiences is good for everyone. Here it's super important. People or developers who come to hackathons, they like to focus. So make sure to set up the environment in a way that it's super cool, but people can still focus well on what they are working on and they can collaborate together.
Okay.
Thank you. Awesome.
Do you have any other question?
No, I'm not. You?
Me neither.
Six, anything else you would like to share with the audience?
Many things maybe, but not in this podcast. I'm happy to talk more about this, or if you have questions, feel free to contact me. And we are happy to see more hackathons coming to the Polkadot ecosystems. And thank you for inviting me to the podcast.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for showing up.
Thank you so much.
We had a great conversation, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. See you
Thank you.
guys.
All right.
Bye-bye.